about each of them. So let's dive into the case study. The first step is to define the different paths a user takes to get to the final sale. In the case of our case study, they had 4 different conversion paths. They had people calling from their landing page, they had people filling out a lead form, they had people calling from the ad directly, and then they had a scheduler on their website where you could schedule an appointment. There could be other conversion paths as well. This could be completing a sale online or going to a location finder to, go to a store or find a location near them. Then we focused on what data do we have outside of AdWords that helps us understand each of these user paths and how they convert. So in the case of a lead or a phone call, we typically have that data available to us. But then once they go offline to a salesperson, in this case, that data is kept somewhere else. And so ultimately, we don't know what happens on a keyword level. Do they convert to sale? So in the case of this specific client, which was a large national home services firm, we went in and we said, okay, we have a database called Power BI. We can get sales from our leads and what they call NPV, but that's profitability ultimately. And then we also have great data from DialogTech that's helping us track our landing page calls. And they also are tracking that all the way through to the sale. And we were able to ultimately pull this all back into Marin, which is our bid platform. And you can do this on any bid platform. You can do this on Kenshu, DoubleClick. You can even do it in AdWords. Keep in mind when gathering this data, you want to track conversions from your site, but also remember conversions that don't touch your site. Like the example of the call extensions in AdWords, that person is calling a phone number, and then they're going into your call center. They're never making it to the site. And some of your conversion types may be hard to get concrete data for. So what we did in the case of this client was we took the kind of unknown paths and we worked with their business team to say, what do we know about this experience? What do we know about people that saw our ad, but then they went through a different step that we couldn't track? And what we did was we took for each of those paths, we created a conversion rate to sale that the business and Elite were comfortable with as far as an educated assumption. And we said, okay, we believe that the people that behave in this way on average convert to sale in this amount. And then we believe that the average sale that is converted it brings in this much revenue. And then we were able to create a profitability ratio in places where we didn't have perfect data. And that's really important because it helps us compare apples to apples, all of the different paths someone takes to interact with our company. And so this is what the analysis looked like. We were able to say, okay, for our conversion paths, what do we know about the conversion to sale, profitability, and their average profitability ratio? And so we identified some cool things. We saw things like the calls from their ads. In this case, the conversion rate to sale was really low. But they were so cheap that the calls were so cheap that the profitability was great. So even though in a first touch or a last click attribution model where we're just looking at calls, we might say, hey, pull back here. But when we look at this data we were able to kind of parse together offline, we were able to say, hey, actually, these are really profitable sales for us. We should probably drive more of those. And this is ultimately what happened. Don't get caught up in all the labels and all of that. What you really need to know about this chart is the darker the color blue, the better a conversion it was for our clients. And we were able to track over time as we were integrating this data with DialogTech and Marin. We were able to say, okay, are we growing the conversions that are most likely going to convert to sale and are going to be the most profitable sales for our client? And you can see as we go along from quarter to quarter, we get more and more of our stacked bar is a darker blue. And that's a good thing because it meant, hey, the same dollars are driving more sales and better sales. And that's something that wouldn't have been possible if we didn't go in and integrate that data. And ultimately, from an first interaction to sale ratio, we improved it by 90% with this process. So overall, it was very successful, and it also changed how our client and Elite looked at our accounts and what we were bidding on and how we were budgeting and how we were structuring everything ultimately. So it's definitely something that you should consider as an exercise to go through.